Welcome back into the Fourth Man Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony, as always, and we got a special one for you today. Today we're going to talk about what went down in Week 3 through the first 3 weeks, but we also have a special guest on the show. We have former Michigan State star, 2022 Drew League MVP, and Enemies rookie Chris Allen joining the show today. Chris, thanks for taking the time, and welcome to the show.
No problem, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I feel like coming into the year or the summer, you were someone that a lot of people spoke really highly about, just like your peers and people in the basketball community. And there was a lot of people really excited for you to be in this league. But you're heading into Week 4 right now. Your team are the defending champs. You know, you guys are undefeated. And you got a few games under your belt now. How are you feeling so far in the summer? Just want to start there and just with the league and everything else in terms of comfortability.
Man, I feel good. It's easy playing with the group of guys that we have. A lot of selfless guys. A lot of usually playing and stuff like this. A lot of guys are like trying to display their skills and show different assets of their game. But on this team, it's just like everybody wants to win. So whatever we got to do to win, it's like everybody's willing to do. So it works out perfect.
Yes, sir. It feels like too, like you got to get your ring. I'm sure you saw them on ring night get theirs, and they're trying to make sure that you
Yeah.
get yours as well. So that's some of the
Oh
selflessness that
yeah,
I feel like
definitely.
goes into it.
Definitely. Me and Jordan talk all the time about running it back, winning it one more time.
For sure, for sure. I want to talk a little bit, just briefly, and summarize your journey just a little bit, get into the Big 3. And maybe you can even help me do so as well, because like I said, I feel like a lot of people that when I first kind of made a post about you, kind of looking into your highlights, and JC kind of told me that you were joining the team, there was a lot of people that were coming to my DMs or even commenting on the post being like, Chris is a bucket, like CA can play. But,
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot of high praise. And so I say that because I feel like, for a lot of people that are still familiarizing themselves with your own game and your story, you went to Michigan State, helped them to two straight Final Fours, played at Iowa State. You played overseas for a long time, played the G League, played in the Drew League.
Yep.
You've done a lot in your career before getting to the Big 3. How would you describe your basketball journey in one word?
Rocky. Real rocky because I want to say like the last 8 years of my overseas career, I was mainly like I'm calling teams myself. Like I'm pretty much my own agent because it was just tough. Like I was dealing with a lot of those guys. You'll hear one thing and then you'll talk to somebody and hear another thing and talk to somebody and hear another thing. And there's 15 different stories going around. So I started getting more thorough with the recruiting process for overseas. And I was like, well, if I hear something, I'm gonna call and see. So I started calling and seeing and start clearing a lot of things up. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, I really could just do this myself, and then I don't have to worry about all the extra stress and the drama. But what came with that was just more stress and drama because now agents are like, you know, well, who's his agent? Oh, nobody. Oh, all right. Well, take my guy because he has a good agent and he has this and that. So it turned into a lot of that. But I always find a way, always get somewhere good, always meet the right people. It's kind of like divine timing almost at all times.
Man, that's pretty wild because for most people
Yeah.
and most, I feel like organizations, like they embrace entrepreneurship in a sense. That's kind of what you were doing. Do you feel like it was more of like a trust factor with some of these agents? They were telling you one thing that would benefit them and it wouldn't be exactly what
Oh,
they set
I
you up
mean,
for?
oh yeah, for sure, for sure. But I mean, it's just like that's a part of business. Like
Yeah.
everybody trying to figure out the best move for them. So it's like I don't, I didn't never get mad at anybody or anything like that. It was more so just learning process. Like okay, like can't take everybody's word every time because I was one of those guys. Like if somebody tell me something, I'm just gonna go with it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Whether it's good or bad, I'm gonna make the most of it. But after a while, it's like I'm older now. Like I don't have to keep going through this if I don't want to. I can just make one extra phone call and figure out everything I need to figure out. And usually that works out.
Yeah. That, and we've heard stories, especially on this show, just from different guys that play in the Big Three now. Just trying to navigate an overseas career is difficult in itself. So I can't imagine trying to balance being a player and then also being an agent and trying to put yourself in the best
Yeah.
situation and then perform.
And that's another part that I was going to touch on. It's like it's really tough because you got to understand you're dealing with real life businessmen. Like the team ownership is just a small part of what they do. They might have 5 to 20 other businesses that they're making millions of dollars off of. So when you're coming at them as a basketball player and you're trying to talk about business, they're going to look at you like, huh? Like, where's your agent? Like, give me somebody else to talk. You know what I'm saying? But then when you start hitting them with the big words and explaining to them what everything means on a contract, they're like, oh snap, okay, maybe I can take you serious. And then in those situations, it was very lucrative and very positive for me. So as I said, it always kind of works out. Even with like the Big 3 situation, like me and JC have been talking about this for years, but it was just like, I wouldn't say it's a lot of politics, but it's more so like uh
I mean, call it what it
people. I
is.
mean, like,
Politics is
yeah,
politics,
yeah,
you know?
like the teams were like the teams. It is what it is. So they got a lot of guys that's always returning, so it's hard to get in to the league. You know what I'm saying? So it was probably like a 2-year process for me just to get to the Big 3.
Yeah. No, that's tough. I can imagine too, and that seems to be a problem. Just going back to like what you were saying about agents not taking you or anybody else that's like an agent themselves seriously. It just feels like that's a problem
Yeah.
with pro athletes in general. It's like you guys put a ball, like people see a ball in your hands or whatever the case may be, perform some kind of sport, and that's for some reason the only thing that people think that you can do is play basketball or play football or whatever
All
else.
in the hood.
Like
Yeah.
insane. Nah, so I love that you're taking that initiative on yourself, and with the Big 3, yeah, I mean, I think that's a problem in itself that we've had for a long time. There's a lot of deserving people that should be in this league where they've cut rosters from 6 to 5. I think they should bring it back up to 6, but also too, I think some
Oh
new.
yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know they had 6 before. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
in 2019 they had 6 per team, so I felt like
Okay.
that was the perfect size for each team because you could do a full rotation if you want if your starters aren't
Yeah,
doing
if you
well.
wanted to. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure.
and then obviously I feel like there just needs to be new additions to the league in terms of teams. Expand to maybe like 16 teams, and I think that really would be the perfect size. So hopefully that's coming soon. But
Yeah, especially with how everything's expanding right now, I feel like
mm-hmm.
that's definitely in the near future. Especially how they're starting to have home base for certain teams, and I seen another team just got bought today. So
Yeah,
I mean, they're moving in the right direction.
yeah. So maybe perfect timing for you. I'm trying to.
Oh, for sure.
I'm stepping back like early on in your career, just playing at Michigan State because I feel like that's an underrated part about your resume. Right? Is like 2 back-to-back
Yeah.
Final Fours. Who can really say that? Especially for a lot of people that are one and done now and then moving on to the league. Like, but you also, I know you didn't finish your career at Michigan State, but you played under Tom Izzo, who.
Yeah.
He seemed to have a lot of nice things to say about you, like you just looking up different articles in regards to y'all's relationship.
Yeah.
What's it like playing under like Coach Izzo, and just what can you say about your time just going to back-to-back Final Fours?
Oh, I mean, so before I got to Michigan State, I'm point guard. I got the ball in my hands 100% of the time. I'm a totally different player. And then when I get to Michigan State, it's like, hey, I know you could do this, but we need you to do this, and we need you to do that, and we need you to do that. I'm like, okay, that's cool, but can I still do this, and can I still do that? And we kind of bump heads on that for a while, and then I kind of finally start fitting into the system and getting my groove and stuff like that, and then just was we had a difference. It's common, like it happens a lot. We just had a very big difference, a different mindset on basketball. I just wanted to be utilized a little bit more, but in a system, in the type of systems that he has, he literally recruits players for literally 1 or 2 things from back then. I mean, I don't know now, what I'm saying? I don't know the difference now, but I know back then it's like if he's getting you, he's probably needing you for 1 or 2 things, and if you could do those things at a high pace, then you're good. So for me, it was just like doing those things and still trying to do my thing at the same time. And that's where the, kind of conflict, or not conflict, but just like, I couldn't really find it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And that led to other stuff. And then, I felt like it was best for me to leave in that situation, even though maybe it looks differently online or whatever. But me and him had already had an understanding 5 months maybe before it even happened. So it was just like it was like a good farewell, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe the media is gonna do what the media is gonna do. So it's like, if you let that get in your head and mess with your head, then you'll find yourself saying crazy stuff in interviews and saying,
Right.
what I'm saying, doing a lot of saying stupid stuff that, doesn't even matter. I was 18 years old when all this stuff was going on. I didn't, I come from a very humble background. I didn't do nothing. When I got to college, it was like, my nose wide open. I'm like in a whole new world almost. It was just different, like completely different.
Yeah.
And basketball wise too. I'm coming from a place where it's like I'm relying on my IQ, to where I'm going to a system where it's like, look, everything's already set up. You just got to make sure you're fast enough to get to this spot, fast enough to get to that spot, and everything else is going to work out. And that was new for me, because it's like, I'm used to having to do way more stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It sounds like there's like a mutual respect, like through and through. It was more of just like, I'm standing on this, I'm standing on this system, and you're standing on, hey, if you utilize me more, which I feel like that was kind of the case at Iowa State. You utilize me more, different things can open up for sure. So
at Iowa State, man, it was like, I won't say a breath of fresh air. I feel like it's a bad term to use, but it was just a lot of, it was loose, a little bit looser, like not so strategic about every little thing. It was more so like, if I make a little mistake here, I could play through it, instead of, at Michigan State, if I make a little mistake, that could mess up what we have going on, to where he might have to take me out for whatever amount of time. And, whatever that, however that goes, he's the coach, I'm the player. So all I could do was come out and wait for him to put me back in.
Yeah.
With a smile on my face as much as possible, So at Iowa State, it was just, more free. Like, he wanted me to, Coach Hoiberg wanted me to do what I could do, especially playing with Royce White. Me and Royce was together for that year. So like me and him oh my gosh, like me
That's
and him
disgusting.
complimenting off each other so crazy. Like if he wasn't able to do it, then I was going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, I want to say, like, right before the season start, coach had like put him at point guard, and then, we was just running off of that, because, Royce is like a real live, like he really loves to pass. He really do. Like, he'll dribble down the court. He might do 100 dribbles, but he's like, all right, somebody cut or do something so I can pass this ball so y'all can score something. You know what I'm saying? But like, I love that about Royce. Shoot, I think I averaged like 14 points a game on like 10 shots. Like, something insane at Iowa State. Like, it was insane. Plus, we had, Scott Christopherson, Chris Babb, a bunch of other high-level D1 guys. So, I mean, it was great at Iowa State. I loved it. It was definitely my favorite college experience for sure. I mean, like, I love going to Final Fours and all that stuff, but like, it was so much better just to be able to play basketball. Like, not have to think about every little thing, and just just hoop, like literally just hoop.
Yeah,
we had sets, of course, but it was more so like, look, Chris, this is the set, but if this guy's overplaying you this way or he's overplaying you, gotta go. And I'm like, oh, cool. You don't have to tell me twice. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's perfect. That's right up my alley. Like, I've been waiting for that. So it was like, it was great, man. And then from there, it was just, the sky was the limit, really. I mean, I was in Israel my first year, went to Turkey for a little while, was in China for a year, Brazil, Greece. I mean, the list goes on. I played it almost everywhere.
Yeah, traveled the world, got to see the world while being able to hoop for a career. And going back to what you were just saying about like the happiest time of your life in college was playing at Iowa State. It's kind of like it's just like a certain level of happiness that you have to have. It's kind of like with the Final Fours being like the higher paying job, but the more strenuous, unfulfilling work. Whereas at
Yeah,
Iowa State, you might be taking a pay cut, but at least you're happy doing so, and you can still provide.
and
So
happy. And
yeah,
and what's crazy is I wouldn't even say it's the pay cut. It's just you're at a different company.
yeah, for sure.
You just at a you're at a different company. This company is like, look, we need you to do all that stuff that you can do. So whereas at the other company, they're like, look, we got this guy for this, we got this guy for that, we got this guy for this, we got this guy for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we want you, but we don't need you. But we'll love it if you could do this right here. So it was just night and day difference. It was night and day difference.
yeah,
And
for sure.
I want to say for my 2 years there, I feel like I accomplished a lot. Like I want to say I'm in the record books at Iowa State after only 1 year
Yeah.
for certain things. I even made a all academic team at Iowa State, so that
Hey.
was an achievement as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy too that you play with Royce. I was gonna say there's a couple of people from Iowa State. I know Mike played there for a year or
Mike, yeah,
two.
but he was like, yeah, he was probably like 2 or 3, like, well, no, like 4 years before I got
Okay. So Mike was like 4 years
yeah.
before, and then you play with Royce, which the crazy part is like Royce started his Big 3 career with enemies as well, like being the number 1 pick. So
Oh, that's funny. That's
that
funny.
that's pretty
That's
wild. I'd
super
like to
funny.
see y'all on a team though. Yeah, Royce is a good passer, and
Oh man,
man,
I'm talking about probably one of the, as far as IQ goes. I mean, he's got a great IQ for the game. I mean,
yeah,
I'm talking about used to make some passes in college, and I'd be like, man, for a guy that big, it's like, how did he do it? Almost, it's very intriguing, man. Like he's a very
yeah.
unique player.
Well, we haven't seen anybody drop a triple double in this league yet, but Royce has definitely been the closest. I think he had 8 points,
Oh,
10
for sure.
rebounds, and 10 assists on like his third game ever in this league.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that sounds like some Royce numbers right there.
for sure. High praise to Royce, but I want to get back to kind of just your opportunity with the Big 3. You had mentioned that it's kind of a couple years in the making, but had a chance this year with Jordan getting promoted to captain, and I know when Jordan came on the show, he was thinking about a couple people already. He was already like putting himself in that position of like, I'm probably gonna be the captain next year after a good
Yeah.
season, and then I'm gonna make some moves. So I know Jordan had mentioned a couple of things, but when he finally was named captain, how did that conversation go about? Is it one of those things where you're just kind of waiting on the call, or I mean, and how'd you feel? How'd you know for yourself, like, hey, this is the year that this is a good time for me to play and join the league and make something of it?
So like it's actually a very funny story. So like I'm literally like going back and forth with the team in Brazil, not Brazil, but Belize. But it wasn't making any sense. So uh I had got well I had got into like a little car accident, so they were kind of like, they weren't too sure if they wanted to still bring me, or they was trying to like lowball me now just because they knew maybe I was injured a little bit, or stuff was going on. So it was just like I ended up not taking that, and then I ended up going to LA for like a month. I was just like, man, I'm just about to go to LA for a month, work out with my Drew League guys, and get back in shape. So if something does come up, I'll be ready to go. So I'm out there. We go to Vegas. We won this 100K tournament out there. Pargo was out there. A lot of big name guys was out there actually. So we won it. I got the MVP of that. JC had hit me up like, "Hey man, like you thinking about the Big 3 still?" He was like, if some work out, I can figure it out for you." I was like, "Yeah, that's easy." I was like, just keep me updated. So like, I think the next time I talked to him, he was telling me like John Wall or some other guys was possibly thinking about joining Marshawn Brooks, guys like
Yeah,
that. So I'm like, okay, well, yeah, if you get any one of those guys, then I understand. You know what I'm saying? It boils down to other stuff when it comes to that. So I'm like, all right, I get it. Like, it's all good. So Darnell Jackson, big fella from the Ghost, by
yeah,
the way,
yeah.
he we work out for like the last 3 years, every
Okay,
year, every summer. So he was like, Chris, man, just go to the combine, man. I'm telling you, like, man, I just know somebody gonna pick you up, bro. Like you too good, bro. Like, I know somebody's gonna pick you up. I know, like, everybody got their team pretty much set up, but like, I'm almost positive somebody will pick you up, bro. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I give him all my information, enter my name into the draft pool or whatever. So like, literally, no BS. maybe 10 minutes after I filled out all the paperwork, JC has sent me a message on IG like yo, like what's up with a question mark. So I'm like, either he had to see that I'm in the draft pool, or he about to just tell me like, hey, like let's go, it's up, like you know what I'm saying. So I'm like, look, man, if y'all gonna draft me, just let me know right now. If so, you know what I'm saying, like then I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna come do everything I gotta do, and we good. He was like, man, uh, Mac just told me that he got all your paperwork in. He was like, man, I don't even think I want people to see you in this draft, man. We just gonna go ahead and pick you up. He was like, he was like, man, we've been planning this too long. There's no way I can miss out on this opportunity. Plus, I think Marshawn Brooks had just came back from China, so he was like, he wasn't really sure about committing fully. So Jordan was like, man, look, man, if you about to do this for real, like, man, just look, we about to send you all the paperwork. We don't want nobody to see you, like at all. Like, we didn't want people to know. We want this to be like the biggest surprise. So I'm like, all right, bet. Man, 10 minutes later, send me the contract. So I was like, perfect. Like this is
That's crazy.
good exposure, playing against some great guys, and you get to cross paths with Ice Cube. He's a legend, man.
For sure.
Like, who wouldn't want the opportunity? So man, it was just a blessing in disguise. Like I was telling you before, it just be divine timing. Like it always, like at the least expected moment, something great always comes up for me. It's been like this for like 8 years. No BS, man. Literally, like I'm talking about. It'll be like crunch time, and people like, Chris, why ain't you nowhere yet? Why ain't you nowhere? And I'm trying to like think of stuff that's hadn't said everything in the book at this point. So I'm just like, look, man. If somebody call, they call. If they don't, oh, y'all know where I'm at, man. Like, so I mean, but it always works out, man. I'm talking about every year it works out. So I'm grateful, man. That's all I can say.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know what kind of conversations you had with Jordan, but he was telling me last year. I mean, I guess it's out on the podcast, so it didn't matter if I said anything. But he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna bring in Marshawn, and that's my guy." And people haven't seen him, so I always wondered what the case was there. But it sounds like just your commitment and the fact that you're like, "All right,
and then
well."
It's funny because all of us are cool. Like,
Okay. Y'all are all boys
like
and stuff.
11 years old. Yeah, so like we used to play AAU and all this stuff together. So it was like it wasn't no steps missed. So it was like almost a perfect switch. Like me, Marshawn, and Jordan is like the same players almost.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all got the same game. We could do the same stuff. Like literally, like there's no drop off in talent when it comes to us three. So it was like whoever he got, it was gonna be the same scenario regardless.
Man, that's wild. The three of you on one team would be actually insane, but we'll talk about that maybe for a future.
Hey, look.
Okay, yeah.
we might be working on something in the future, man. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Just hey,
keep that.
That's gonna be the greatest show on earth. I can promise you that.
All right, well, I don't give my hopes up too much, just because. No, but for you, like, what I really loved about your mindset is like you've embraced it so much. Like you've just been, like posting your own highlights, like cut your own highlights, posting them, and then just excited for other people and what's going on within the league for the league's endeavors itself. For you, like, what were kind of your thoughts on like coming into the league and more specifically like coming in with your squad? Like I know now, like you've got some, established chemistry with them, but what'd you think of the squad coming in outside the fact that it's like, hey, these are the champs right here?
Yeah, but like before I came in, I was just peeping everybody's game, and I'm like, honestly, I'll be a perfect fit on this team. Like it'll just be another guy that's just like Jordan that could literally get a bucket at any moment. So it's like it makes it easier for other guys. When you got like I love playing with Jordan. Like I hate the fact that they in the NBA they're like, oh, you can't put KD and Steph on the same team. You can't put such and such on the same team. Yes, you can if they have a mutual respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And me and Jordan, I mean, like I have the utmost respect for his game. He has the utmost respect for my game. So when we're on the court, it's almost like we're on a string with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even realize it just because he's thinking exactly how I'm thinking, and I'm thinking exactly how he's thinking. So if I'm cutting one way, it's like if I was me, where would I be? And I'll look, and Jordan will be there, and I'll be like, that's crazy.
That's a
And I
perfect
could, and
chemistry.
it just makes it so much easier to where it's like if I do want to shoot, I don't have a problem with shooting because Jordan's the same guy that's like, CA, time for you to step up. Like, come on, man, let's go. Like last game, he straight up told me second half, I want to say it was like 37 or something like that. He was like, hey, like close it out. And I accounted for like the last maybe 8 points, including a couple good assists. And then, of course, he came in and finished the game off. So it's just like when you got a dynamic like that, it's almost like, how do you stop it?
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like not even trying to be cocky or anything, but how do you stop it? Like, I'm not shooting myself in the foot right now before our game. Before our game, but like, I know I work hard. I know Jordan worked hard. So, like I said, it's just like, how do you stop that? Like, literally.
Well, like that's the thing with this enemy squad is like, it's not even just you two; it's all 5 of you guys that can really just go get a bucket when you guys need to. Whether it's you two or Elijah or Zeke or Quincy.
Like, and my fault, like I had just got so caught up on me and Jordan because it's like we were talking about us too.
No, yeah, that's cool
for that little period of time. But like that's what I'm saying. Like that's basically what I mean. It's like, for instance, like me and Jordan is like we got a type of versatility. Like we could score, but at the same time we'll make a great pass. Or we'll do this or we'll do that. Like we're like almost like the playmakers on the team. So whereas everybody else is just like they get buckets. Like I can't even lie. Like these guys are straight score. Like I'm talking about. They get buckets, man. Like, oh my God, Elijah, he's a bucket, a straight bucket. Like, IQ's crazy, strength, quickness, and then Zeke, he's 7 foot with handles, man. Need I say more?
Right.
There's no big man that can guard him. And then you got a guy like Quincy, like he's that guy. Like how do you guard him? Period. You can't guard him in the post. You can't guard him on the wing. And then you got a guy like that, man. It's like I said, it's just insane, man. It's very insane, very insane.
Right. I think that's what I've been kind of thinking about this team too. Right. It's like the first 2 games, it was like Jordan had a big first week. I mean, Elijah had a good game, and then Elijah had a really big second week. Like this game was more about, and not to say that the last few games haven't been, but this game was really like, captured by just a team effort where I'm saying like that was the scary part, right? Like, and you seem a lot more comfortable too, just like at the end of that game. And especially, I mean, since probably week 1, you've seemed really comfortable closing out games, kind of being like that the last lineup to come in, not even just getting buckets, but like defensively, you've been good. You blocked a couple of shots in some key moments, hit some, key threes. Like you said, a couple assists here and there. I mean, how are you feeling now just after 3 weeks? I know there's not a huge adjustment going from 5-on-5 to 3-on-3, but.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if I had to play on any other team, I couldn't tell you how I would be right now. But the fact that I'm with these group of guys, it's crazy, man. Like, considering, and especially considering they just won the championship, like you coming off. You're the new guy on a team that has everybody returning from the championship team. So it's like, do you come out being super aggressive, or do you just fit in where you need to fit in until stuff really gets glue and they figure out like everything about my game? But like with these guys, it's like once they see me do a couple moves in practice and then seeing how I'm shooting, they're like, bro, what's up, bro? You might as well have been on the team already. Like we already know what you about to do, so. There's no problem. Like there's nothing to think about. Like if I see you cutting this way, I'm throwing you the ball. I'm getting out the way. Or if I see you coming here, I'm gonna set a screen. I'm cutting, and I know you will hit me if I'm there, or you'll make a play if you need to make a play. So it's just like when you're playing on a team like that, with a guys that's just like literally like everybody wants. Like I can honestly say our team literally everybody wants to see everybody do good. Like it doesn't matter who have 30 or 40. Like literally, like everybody will feel like they scored 30 or 40 if somebody on the team scores 30 or 40. Like it's crazy, man. The camaraderie we have is uncomparable.
Man, that's amazing. And that just goes to show just like the selflessness to try to get, a second championship and like get you involved right off the rip. And it sounds like you and
Oh
JC
yeah,
just have just a good friendship, brotherhood there. So, I mean, it's really easy to
yeah.
kind of see that from like a
And
third.
then I'm not even gonna lie. Like I know, like I said, I just keep harping on JC because it's like he helped me get to the team. But man, those guys on that team, man, Isaiah, Quincy, and Elijah, man, they accepted me like I've been on the team for the last 3-4 years with them. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
it wasn't even like it didn't feel like anything. I felt right, like from like you said, from week one, I felt comfortable. It's just like I was just filling it out, like let me make this play and let me do this. Let me show them that I can play basketball, not just come out here and try to do my own thing. And then I felt like that approach made them even more easier with me. Like, oh man, he's good. We don't have to worry about nothing with this guy. We got to keep doing the same thing we was doing last year. Let's just keep the train rolling.
Yeah. Nah, that's like y'all got such a nice squad, but like just a bunch of good dudes on that team too that like really love this league, like want to see this league grow. Like I think y'all just like,
Oh,
that's like
sure,
the
for
really
sure.
cool part. It's just how much y'all are embracing the league and stuff. Because I don't know if you always get that. I feel like everybody wants to see it grow just within the league, but you don't always see it from like an outspoken level. So, I mean,
Yeah, and then
obviously,
I mean like, oh yeah, yeah,
I was gonna
and
say,
then especially like, oh yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna just harp on just the fact that most like guys like me, we've been overseas to where a lot of these guys they played in the NBA, so they were here. They know how it is to play in front of home all the time, and stuff like that. To where for me, this is like great for me because I'm used to being overseas and my family can't watch me play. But this experience has been great. I'm having fun, able to bring my family to the games, any game. You know what I'm saying? They're able to watch me play all the time. So, I mean, it's great for me, man. It's great. Selfishly speaking, like
No,
I
no.
love that aspect of it. It's a very family environment, and I love that about the Big Three. Like, man, it's like one big happy family. Like, even though we competing hard, man, we go out and hang out. Like you might see us with a team we just played out, hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just great, man. The league overall is just a great league, man. I'm happy Ice Cube started this, and John, I think it's John,
Jeff.
uh,
Yep.
Jeff. I'm sorry. Don't remove that off here, Jeff.
Oh, good. I'm sure he wouldn't
Yeah,
take offense to it either way. But no, I don't think that you're being selfish at all. I think that's part of the experience, right? That's part of the package that comes with playing in the Big Three is being able
for
to
sure.
play in front of your family. So, like you mentioned, a lot of that camaraderie, and obviously this team has pretty much looked unstoppable through 3 weeks, especially the first couple weeks. But now you got a big test this week in
For
Newark
sure.
when you guys are going against TriState, a team that they had to kind of find their own chemistry as well, and kind of had a dud week one. But the past 2 weeks, they've beat both of those teams
They've
by
been
yeah,
convincingly.
like
Yeah,
convincingly. Jay Rich and
yeah,
Murph.
yeah.
That's
They're my guy.
a deadly combo. Like Murph's been an MVP in this league. Jay
Spartan dog.
Rich is 43, and yeah, another Spartan in the league. So. What do you feel like? I mean, I guess what are your thoughts just on taking on Tri-State as a whole? Like, what do you see from their team, or that are some things that you're looking
I
out
mean,
for?
it's definitely gonna be a challenge for sure because you're going against Jay Rich. He's a Michigan State guy, bleed green. You know what I'm saying? Spartan dog. So that's there, of course. So that it's just a. I ain't gonna lie. When you play at Michigan State, you have another level of mental toughness and just a little edge to you. So
Mm-hmm.
anytime you're playing against a Michigan State guy, you better strap your boots up. So like I don't take that for granted at all, no matter what age he is. You know what I'm saying? And Murph's my guy, man. I've been knowing Murph 15 plus years. We play AAU against each other. He's from Georgia, so I've played against him numerous times, and like that's like almost like a Marshawn Brooks situation. Like we've been playing against each other rivals for a while, so this is gonna be nothing new. It's just gonna be like again, seeing you again. All right, let's go.
Don't
You
matter
already know
what the
what time
stage
it is. Like,
is.
let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like let's go. You already know. And when I tell you two competitors, those two guys are two of the most competitive people I know. So I know it's not gonna be an easy breezy game, but we're gonna try. We're gonna do what we need to do.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I feel like the first 3 weeks, like I felt like you potentially had the matchup advantages, and probably
Yeah,
still do. Like I feel like Isaiah is probably just a matchup disadvantage or an advantage for
everybody.
for any big that he's playing against. But I do feel like this team like does, I guess like head to head does match up
Oh yeah,
maybe even the most favorably. So I'm thinking this could be like game of the year early on and in the
yeah.
season.
It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one for sure. It's definitely gonna be a nail biter. We're gonna try to close them out though, but I think it'll be a good game. But the ego is yelling at me on the inside right now. Like you don't feel like that, but I'm gonna keep it PG-13. You know,
That seems like the motto. I feel like I've heard Elisha say that a lot too. I'm gonna be humble and
yeah,
respect my opponents.
I'm a I'm a I'm gonna show how I feel in the game more so than I'm gonna talk about it.
I like that.
So yeah, yeah. I'm gonna show more. I'm gonna show on the court how I really feel. But right now, I'm gonna say, I think it'll be a good game. I think we're gonna compete for sure. That's for sure. It's
No,
gonna be a great competition.
no doubt. And I know you're not thinking too much outside of your own team, but like just looking at the league and just kind of how the league stacks up. Is there anybody that you feel like could be a team that kind of could put like a kind of a team to watch out for like down the stretch so far in the year? I mean, is there any team that you're looking at? It's like, damn, they're pretty nice too. I mean, outside of like your own team.
I mean, shoot, we already played them with Joe and Pargo and Moon and
Yeah.
Gennaro. Those guys, that first week. They let us squeeze one out. They let us through that window. I don't know why they did that, but they let us through that window. But since then they've been on a roll, man. I can't lie. They've been looking real good. They've been looking real good. So like, who knows, man?
The
That might be
rematch.
the yeah, it might be the I don't know, man. I mean that's what I think though. I mean I feel like that's a good matchup for us.
Yeah, and you guys were maybe just getting some of the jitters out, like making things interesting for the season opener. But yeah, no, that's a really solid team right now. Like the thing about
No,
them
they
is
look
that
good.
Gennaro didn't even do a lot last year for them to get to that point. So the fact that he's playing the way he is maybe makes them a little bit
Exactly.
scarier. But
That's the part right there. That's the part that I was looking at. I was like, well, if he does that when Joe come back, man, it's gonna be kind of tough, man.
good thing you guys already took care of them early
Yeah,
on.
we already got them out the way, so we got to worry about them into the playoffs, hopefully. So
For sure.
that'll work out. We'll be well oiled by then. So
Oh yeah. You'll definitely have a few games under your belt by then. So far in the league, who do you feel like's been like maybe one of the harder players to guard in this league? And I know you haven't played a ton of teams yet, but you probably played them in another life somewhere.
shoot, who's the hardest guys I had to guard so far? Jordan, Elijah, Quincy, and Zeke. That's it. The hardest guys I had to guard so far.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Them the hardest guys. Them the hardest guys. There ain't nobody harder than those guys right there. Them the hardest guys.
Iron sharpens iron. Okay. We talked a little bit early on just about some of the teams being sold to different investors, and they'll be more city based next year. So every team will have a city attached to their name next year. We haven't heard which city is going to which team. So where would you want to see enemies based out of city wise if you could pick?
Man, I don't know, man. I like the West Coast. I ain't gonna lie. I
Mm.
like the West Coast.
But are you thinking like
So I
a
know.
Los Angeles enemies or like maybe something a little bit
I
more
don't know.
west?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It could go. It could go either way. But I feel like honestly, wherever they have the bases, it's going to be a good spot regardless. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they treat us very well in this league. So I feel like wherever they set up camp or base at, then it's going to be great for whatever guys. You know, I feel like it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm thinking more of just like what would be like the best ring to some of these teams, you know, just like thinking about them in my head. But like, yeah, like you said, like I think they'll have a good spot for whatever team is based wherever. And
Yeah, for sure.
I'm interested to see kind of how that will work, just in terms of home field advantage with all the teams still going to whatever spot. So should be
Yeah.
fun, should be interesting, but good for the
Oh,
league.
definitely.
Last thing I want to ask you, and then I'll let you get out of here. But and you kind of alluded to a little bit, but what's been the most enjoyable experience off the court in the Big Three so far?
I mean, it's just the people, man. It's just one big happy family, man. I feel like everybody has their roles, everybody does their job as far as players, staff, owners. Like I just feel like it's very well set up and structured, and I feel like it's the sky's the limit. Honestly, like I was I was talking to somebody jokingly, but I was like, man, I could see myself finishing my career in the Big Three. Like, you know what I'm saying? As crazy as that sounds, but shoot, man, they take good care of their players to where it makes you want to come back, and it makes you want to, you know what I'm saying? It makes you want to see the league do good and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, like I honestly, Big Three probably one of the best basketball experiences I've had in my 35 years of living.
That's dope. That's a lot. That's high praise too. I feel
Yeah,
like you probably played at a lot of
yeah,
spots.
no,
So
for sure. Like I mean, it's just fun, man. Like I haven't had this much fun playing basketball since high school.
man,
Honestly, yeah.
that's amazing. Well, I mean, not that
No,
everything's
for real.
about.
And yeah, and to have fun and get paid, can't beat that. You know, in high school, you're just having fun. You're not getting paid
Yeah,
to go out there and do stuff. But now you're getting paid to have fun and go do the stuff that you train all day for. Oh man, this is a great feeling, man.
I think we were on the same wavelength there. I was going to say there might, not to say everything's all about money, but there might be a bigger payday, once these teams are sold to investors and, they
For
got a little
sure.
more to offer. It's not the league
Yeah,
spreading
for
spreading
sure.
their wealth across the league.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it's even just now how it is, and based off of whatever they got going, it's a great experience. So when they really boost it up, and then it's worth hundreds of millions, the league is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Oh man, I can't. It's going to be crazy, man. It's the sky's the limit. That's what I said. Like I said, like shoot, I can see myself doing this for a while.
Man. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Mostly looking forward to your matchup this week against TriState. Good luck to you guys. I know
Sure,
that it should be a
man.
fun
Thank
one.
you.
And
Man. I appreciate it.
yeah,
Oh, it's gonna be great, man.
yes, sir.
Prime time on CBS.
Yeah, for sure. And appreciate you for joining the show and coming on and sharing your story. And looking forward to how the rest of the season turns out for you. Maybe a rookie of the year by the end of the season. Who knows?
Hey, maybe. Hey, it's possible.
Just heating up right now. So, we'll see what happens for the end of the year.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, Chris. Appreciate it.